About 30 years ago, I started fishing for pike up in Canada, primarily with a spinning rod, and did that for almost 20 years. And then went over to using a fly rod, and now I exclusively fish with a fly rod for pike. I find it's far more enjoyable and certainly a challenge and a great bit of excitement when those big fish come up and slam your fly, especially when the fly is near the surface and there's that huge swirl in the water when they take the fly. And many times you can see them following the fly, and you'll see your fly all of a sudden disappear, and you know you got your pike on. Now, I'm going to tie 4 different pike patterns today. The first one is a stew-ap style pike fly. And one of the things I think you need to keep in mind when you design or tie pike flies is to keep the fly light, because you're casting that fly all day. You're doing blind casting primarily, and if you tie a fly which is real heavy, for instance a bunny fly, which is a great fly, very effective, and it works extremely well as far as the undulation and movement in the water, but they're like casting a sock, a wet sock, and they're very difficult to cast, particularly if you have to do it all day long. So the first fly is a stew-ap pattern. I'm going to use a Partridge Sea Prince saltwater hook, and I usually tie my pike flies on saltwater hooks. Once in a great while I'll switch over and use a heavy bronze hook, but I find they're a little heavier and a little bit more meat to them. I'm starting out with some Ultra Thread 140, which is a relatively new thread. I'm going to start about in the middle of the hook shank and wrap to the end of the shank. You'll notice this thread lays very flat. It's got a lot of stretch to it. It's a nylon thread. It's got a breaking strength of 2 pounds, 12 ounces. Lightly waxed. You can see how that flattens out.